Hi, James here, and welcome to another Fuzzlecheck 4 tutorial. In this video, we're going to look at creating strips. So let's get started with a new project. Click New Project, and we're taken to an empty main window. And for the purposes of this tutorial, we can skip naming the project. So let's just close this window out. Now, when starting a project, you'll either want to import your script or manually input your scenes. For script importing, we would click File and scroll down to Import and over to Import Script. This is by far the easiest and most efficient way to get your scenes imported, as Fuzzlecheck 4 will import a PDF of your script in a standard screenplay format and extract all the main information from each scene, such as interior-exterior, day-night, the set name, script day, speaking roles, etc. But we'll cover all that in another tutorial. In this video, we're going to look at doing it the old-fashioned way, one strip at a time. This is important to know as well, as you would inevitably have to create strips at some point when the revisions come out. So we add a strip simply by clicking this Add Sheet button here. Now, sheet refers to a strip, and it can be a full scene or part of a scene, and Fuzzlecheck automatically starts at number 1. Now you can change that number to whatever you want. Make sure it's highlighted and type a new number. So how about 2? Now if we click Add Sheet, Fuzzlecheck automatically adds the next scene number in sequence. And if I click back to the daybreak where we started, it will add the lowest number available. And if we right-click a strip, it will give us the option of either moving it to the unscheduled area or deleting it from the project, like so. So let's change 3 to 60A, and then add a strip, and we'll see that Fuzzlecheck automatically adds the next scene number in that sequence. Here it's 60B. Okay, so let's look at getting all our scene information onto the strip, say scene 2. And the easiest way when starting out is with the inspector, here. Now the inspector is kind of like the breakdown page that you might be familiar with. The scene information is in these upper boxes here, and the element categories are underneath. Here we have the scene number. You can change that here as well if you'd like. Let's go back to scene 1. Next box is interior, exterior, and day-night. Now most of you will be used to these being separate categories, but Fuzzlecheck 4 combines them. So if we click on the box, we get this pull-down menu here, and there are abbreviations for interior day, interior night, exterior night, etc. Now this menu is fully customizable, so you can choose your own colors and labels, and we'll cover that in another tutorial. But for now, let's go with exterior day. Okay, next box over is script day. This can be whatever you want in a combination of numbers and letters, like flashback 3. But since we're just starting out, let's go with day 1. Now we get to inputting the name of our set, and here we'll get to work with Fuzzlecheck's element management system for the first time. When we click the empty box and there are no sets stored so far, we simply get Add or Manage Set. Clicking either will eventually bring about the same outcome, but for simplicity's sake, let's choose Add. So we'll call this Set Airport, and you can see the number 1000. Fuzzlecheck will give every element a numerical ID, and the starting number changes depending on which category the element is being created in. Sets start at 1000, the cast starts at 1, extras start at 200, picture vehicles start at 500, and so on. Now these numbers are only a starting point. You can change the ID for any element to anything you'd like. The next box is screen time, and if you know the approximate length of the scene at this point, you can use these pull downs here to input a time in hours and minutes. For fun, let's say 30 seconds. Okay, this box is page count. Page count is calculated in eighths of a page. So if our scene is half a page long, and we've estimated that it's 30 seconds of screen time, we can say it's 4/8 of a page. Again, use the pull downs to find 4/8. And finally, this box is for estimating how long it's going to take to shoot that 4/8 of a page. Now, shooting 4/8 of a page of dialogue is very different than shooting 4/8 of a page of action, and Fuzzlecheck uses the time you input here in various aspects of the schedule. So it's always better to err on the side of caution. Give the scene slightly longer than you think it will take. There's nothing worse than waiting for cast because you finished a scene earlier than scheduled. So we'll say 3.5 hours for this scene. Now the synopsis is a brief description of what's happening in the scene. For this we'll say, Annie and Fred arrive at the airport. But who's Annie and Fred? And that's where we get to importing elements. These icons here that mimic the icons across the top of the main window are the categories that we've set up so far for element input. Here we have set, cast, extras, special effects, visual effects, etc. Now these are all defaults, and you can add and delete categories, change category names, or switch icons across the board, and we'll cover all that in a later video. But for now, let's add Annie and Fred to scene 1. Click the cast icon and then Add. There we see the default number 1, and we'll type in Annie. Now, as we've covered, you don't have to stick with the number 1 for Annie's ID. You can change it to a letter if you'd like, such as A for Annie. Click Create, and now let's add Fred. You'll see that Fuzzlecheck is defaulted to A1 as Fred's ID, but we'll change that to F. Okay, so there's the cast for scene 1, but we're at the airport, so we'll need some extras. Click the Extras icon, and then let's add some travelers. Here, Fuzzlecheck 4 is defaulted to the number 200 for the ID of this element, as it's the first group of extras we've inputted. Click Create, and you'll notice this count marker here is set at 1 times, as in 1 times travelers. Fuzzlecheck 4 uses a unique way of managing extras in that you input a group of extras that will work for the project overall, and then depending on the scene, you designate a certain number for that group. So for scene 1, let's say it's a busy airport, and we'll mark out 95 travelers. Now for a smaller scene down the road that also has travelers in it, we'll use that same group, but we'll choose only, say, 25. Now let's add some airport employees. Here we're given the ID number 201, and we'll go with 10 employees. Now, if you know right away how many of a specific group of extras you'd like, you can input it like this. Let's put in some kids. 3 children. And Fuzzlecheck automatically gives you the group children with the count already at 3. And for fun, let's put in some animals. Here's the animal icon, and let's add Snuffy the dog. Snuffy gets the ID 600. So there's our strip with some elements populated. The cast here, the extras, and Snuffy the dog. Now that the elements are in the scene, we can access them for editing and adding additional info by clicking on the icons across the top, and that will bring up the management window. Now this window can be changed to whichever category you'd like by clicking either the icons here or here. Now at the bottom of the inspector is a notes area. These are a little different in that they are strip specific only and are not saved in a category. We'll make the note that there will be Steadicam used in the scene. To make more categories viewable, we click the plus sign, and if we scroll to the bottom and click Column Preferences, we're taken to the Project Preferences main menu here. And from this menu, we can choose which categories are visible on the main window, as well as add new categories and notes boxes. We can access the same menu with this button here. While we have this menu open, let's look at these columns here. These are called tag columns, and they're for tagging strips with an icon that you can use to quickly identify the status of that strip. If we enable them all, we can see that we have the choice of these defaults. You can either tag a strip completed or flagged, which is a handy way of crossing scenes off as they are finished or need completing. And tagging a scene with a cancelled tag actually gives it a strike-through, so you can identify omitted scenes at a glance. You'll notice that functional tag icons appear here in the inspector as well. And again, these tags and icons are fully changeable, and we'll cover design and customizing in a later tutorial. And while we have the inspector open, just a quick note here about scrolling through strips with these little arrows here. This is an alternative to using the up and down arrows on your keyboard. Alright, that's it for this tutorial. Be sure to check out the other tutorial videos, or if you have any questions, feel free to email us at info@fuzzlecheck.com. Thanks for watching.